Hello, thank you so much for being here with us, Maylen. We really appreciate you answering questions about your educational experiences and career experiences. Without further ado, I will toss it over to Emma, who has a couple questions for you.
Hi, so I just want to know where you attended college for your undergrad degree.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a transfer student. So I transferred to UNC Wilmington for my junior and senior year. So that's where I actually got my undergraduate degree. But before that, I did like 1 year at UNC Asheville, but then halfway through the year, COVID hit.
Mm.
And so I finished it out online, and then I went to my local community college online for like my sophomore year.
Mm. And then what was your major and minor in college?
Um, so I ended up graduating with a major in psychology and a minor in women and gender studies. But originally, up until I got to UNCW, my minor was biology because I thought I would
Mm.
want to go into like clinical psychology.
Mm. And why'd you choose women and gender studies?
So like I said, I wasn't originally intending to be a WGS minor. I actually didn't even really know that that was a minor that you could get. I think in the UNC school system, there's only like 8 major schools that have, a WGS minor, and UNC Asheville was not one of them, which I find to be kind of ironic. But so I just didn't really know that that was an option for me. And then when I came to UNCW for my junior year, my first semester, I needed an extra class to fulfill like credit requirements for the semester. And so I like impulse registered for sexuality and gender with Dr. Kruger, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is like the secondary course in
Yeah.
that. Like I completely skipped over the introductory course. And I fell in love with the subject material. Like I thought it was like it really felt like the first course that like blended my personal passions with like my educational and clinical and like eventually professional passions.
Mm.
So I ended up, when she told me that there was a minor available and that was an option, I said, yes, let's do that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So what's your current job title?
So currently I work for a continuing care retirement community, or a CCRC. It's called the Cedars of Chapel Hill. And there, my title is, it's a little funky, but I am the director of administrative services. But recently I acquired another department. So um, they either know me as the director of administrative services or the director of a transportation services. I also am the executive assistant to our executive director. So it's just kind of on any given day what people want job title is, but
Mhm.
officially on like our website it says director of administrative services.
Awesome. And what inspired you to apply for this job?
Oh, that's such a great question. So my last semester at UNCW, I had gotten pretty much all of the course requirements that I kind of needed. I just needed a few more, and I knew I would be really bored. So I registered for a full load. And so I took electives, and I took psychology of death and dying and
Mm.
psychology of aging in the same semester, which is like it's a very morbid combo to
Yeah.
do at the same time. But I actually really enjoyed like every moment of both of those courses. Um, and a year after graduation, and after like a brief stint of working as the office manager for the care office at UNCW, my husband and I were looking at moving out of Wilmington and transitioning to the Triangle area. So I started looking for jobs kind of in this area. That was really fun. Um, but I saw the Cedars had posted a office manager slash executive assistant job. And once I looked into the Cedars as a community, I knew I enjoyed working with people, but I had never worked with an older demographic before. But after taking those two psychology courses, I knew that working with older adults and potentially being able to like apply some of what I learned in those courses would challenge would challenge me both personally and professionally. And that was kind of what motivated me to apply.
That's awesome.
Awesome. What does a typical day look like for you? Or like what are your day-to-day responsibilities?
So I don't really have like a typical day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Senior living is, funnily enough, like a really fast-paced environment, so things come up um, on a daily basis that is, I could never expect there to be, the same thing every day. But I'm primarily responsible for ensuring that our business office and our transportation services run smoothly and efficiently, while also supporting the administrative needs of our executive director. So that's, calendar management, email management, things like that. I provide direct management to a team of about 30. So I work every day to ensure that my team has what they need, like the resources and support that they need to provide top tier service for our members or residents. Um, I also work really closely with our membership, and I assist them with their administrative and transportation needs. Um, I think probably one of the more like enriching portions of my job is those face-to-face interactions with our members. Sometimes our members need help with things that seem really simple, like paying their car registration online or signing into their email. And when working with an older demographic, I've had to learn that it's really important to keep in mind that they're coming from a vastly different background and they have had to adjust to a lot of change in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And so, like, technology, especially, is really hard for them. And unfortunately, the world is not going to slow down in that regard. So, supporting them with, implementing technology in their lives and making sure that they're being safe with it is a big portion of kind of what I try to do every day. Because there's so many times that somebody comes in and is like, so somebody's on the phone asking me for money. And I'm like, well, you can't for credit card info. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I would say my primary responsibilities are.
Awesome. That's so amazing. So how has having a minor in WGS influenced your professional life or your career?
God, that's kind of a hard question. I think, kind of what I said with my face-to-face interactions with our members, kind of understanding that they do come from very different backgrounds, both socioeconomic and class and race and social standing and all of those things. Keeping that in mind when I'm interacting with them has really helped with my professional growth at the Cedars. They can be kind of a difficult demographic to work with, um, and so especially in those interactions where maybe I'm dealing with somebody that's difficult and having a hard time keeping that in mind really helps inform the way that I move forward with those interactions because I have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And it's the same with my team, like they come from very different backgrounds and work histories and um, race, class, socioeconomic stuff. Like it's with managing people, it it's really easy to take things personally, or it can be easy to take things personally, and just keeping those things in mind while I have interactions with them too has really helped.
Yeah. How has having a minor in WGS benefit you on a personal level?
I would say that it's helped with my relationships, especially some of the relationships that are that have been historically more difficult for me to navigate. Um, I think we all have family members where maybe we don't necessarily see eye to eye on things that are very important to us. Um, and understanding that we're all in the same system, and we all have, you know, different experiences in that system, and some of us may, you know, have a more oppressive time in that system, and some of us may, benefit from some of the same, things in place in that system that maybe I don't, or maybe my other loved ones don't. But understanding that regardless of that, there's still, things out of other people's control that have been in place for a really, really long time. Uh, has just helped me, navigate really difficult conversations with a more, I would say, fair mentality.
Mm.
Just understanding that to a certain degree, you got to meet people where they're at. So I would say that's the biggest way.
Yeah. And for my last question, what is some advice you would give a current UNCW student considering a minor in women and gender studies?
You should do it. You should totally do it. Mainly because I think people don't realize how um, relevant it is, and how much of their normal course load can be applied to the minor too. So it's like you may be um, taking a course that you don't feel like is applicable at all, but it actually does fit the course requirements. um, and it's just it really does inform you in really life-changing ways. And so if you have the capacity and the space to do it, I would suggest that you do, or at least try.
Amazing. Okay, perfect.